Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSide DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host, Meg Brewer 31. We have Nashville night race, 7 p.m. Eastern, so you have more time to do some yard work and stuff before the race starts. Weather is looking good. Concrete track, flat track, a little less than an intermediate mile and a third. So, third race here with the next gen car. First two were decent. Two dominator race, three dominator race last year was just an absolute train wreck. It seems like everything was like all lined up, and then there were a bunch of wrecks, and Joey Logano luck boxed to win, and Zane Smith ended up second, and it was just like crazy with wrecks and people running out of gas. I think it was, and just it just wasn't your normal like NASCAR race. It was something where you worked hard and had a great lineup, and then all of a sudden towards the end, it just was a scratch off lottery ticket, and that happens sometimes. So, and truck race this week was decent. Xfinity yesterday. I mean, I did two speculation videos, and in the speculation videos, even though we didn't have the correct data, and if you actually go back and like look at it, like some of the starting positions and ending positions are pretty close, and not perfect, but I didn't have as much Cruth for truck. But the one thing that I did talk about, and it manifested itself right at the end of the race, is I didn't trust Gray. And a lot of people play him in cash. A lot of people were ahead of me. And as soon as he had the engine problem or whatever, towards the end of the race and just started falling all the way down, my lineups kept on soaring up and I ended up 10xing my money. So, um, even though the speculation videos don't have like on them, a lot of you came back and asked questions on them, and I went and I updated the primes. I was pretty gracious in trying to answer all the questions on them. I have to take care of the paying chat first, but if I still have time, I still look back and try to help out. So, ask questions here. I will try to get back to you, and most of the time I do, and if I don't, I'll apologize. So, but anyways, back to this race here. So you'll see a different color on here if you're watch these videos all the time. The way this race is there's so many great options up top that could go out there and really look like they could be dominators or do really well in this race. Like this isn't a race where the cash lineup kind of builds itself and it's a really, really easy build. You're going to struggle here. It might be one of those 20x or 20 entry days where you just go in and you take a core drivers that are kind of low, and then you mix and match a bunch of other drivers that you think you really want to play. So you've got some really good dominators potentially up top. You've got Kyle Larson, who's got some really good place differential at the most expensive driver in the field, I believe. So lots of different ways to go. So I tried to give primes that are close to the back, that are cheap, with place differential, with upside. But then I also built with some other primes if you want to go with a more balanced lineup. So I'll let you have the choice, or maybe just mix and match among the six of them. So that's why you see the alternate prime making its debut in this video, because I just really felt it was necessary. The other thing we need to talk about is Denny Hamlin's fiance is expecting and could go into labor anytime. He doesn't want to miss it, and he is not going to race if that happens. So if he starts the race, great, he gets the points. If he doesn't, Ryan Truex will. So is not obviously is good, but he does do all the testing for Joe Gibbs. He has run Xfinity really well for Joe Gibbs. It's been a while since he's actually raced in the Cup Series, so it's obviously it's going to be a downgrade, but you're almost getting a half price discount there too. So come back and check the comments if that is going to happen. I will write a commentary on it. So check back before the race around 6 o'clock. We should know by then if it's going to happen or not. If it happens in the middle of the race, it's hard because Hamlin probably has the best car out there, and I think the driver is part of the secret sauce. So with Truex, I think there's going to be a drop off, and you're paying 10-7, and I think he's the third most expensive driver on the field for not a sure thing, but it's again this is all risk and reward anyways. So start up top, Briscoe, fourth in 10 lap average. All the Joe Gibbs cars were decent here. So I think the Toyotas came out with a lot of speed. So Briscoe on the pole, if he can get out there and hold it, and this track is hard to pass. Goodyear did try to bring a softer left side tire, but the fall off just isn't what they thought it would be. And I think it's going to kind of be like follow the leader. Like we did see some passing like on restarts in the Xfinity race, but then it seemed like they just got out there and just ran. Same thing in the Trunk Series. So I think if Briscoe can get a clean break, if the rest of them are racing each other, then he could be out there and pretty much gone and be an early dominator in 8-9. That's not a bad, but I'm going to put the GPP dominator tag on him. Hamlin, I think this is where you need to go unless he's not going to be in the race. So I think that I like him as the main dom. Byron has kind of struggled here, but obviously was fastest car last week for most of the race at Charlotte and has been really good at mile and a half tracks. This is a little bit shorter, but it should be okay. So I think ninth and 10 lap. So I'm going to give him the GPP one here just because I like Reddick and Chastain a little bit better. Reddick had the number one in 10 lap average. Again, the Toyotas have been really fast here. Um, I really like him. I like finding different grooves, being able to run up against the wall if that groove is available there. Um, so he's definitely one that I'd also consider. And I like the $1,000 like savings that you're getting off of Byron too. And then Chastain, I think if I have to pick two, probably going to go Hamlin and Chastain. He was it was Hamlin and it was Chastain and Byron, I said last week, and that was the combination that you kind of needed. And third and 10 lap average. Last week, had really good races and really good form with Trackhouse. And even wrecking the car going from last to first was pretty amazing. And he ran the Xfinity race. He finished top 10. It wasn't a banner, like he wasn't in most of it, but I think that it was a case where he got experience. He saw where what was working and how fall off was, even though it's a different car and different tire and everything. I think it was enough of a good study for him that it's really going to help with this race here. Kozlowski, I still can't do it in cash. I know he put together a good race last week, but just overall this season has just been so disappointing. It's the same thing I said. It's the Tanner Gray factor from yesterday that or Taylor Gray, a factor from yesterday where it's a really good driver and everything on paper should look good, but just I just got that gut feeling that it's not going to work out again. Like fifth in 10 lap average, so everything points to, and the price tag's not bad that he could be a dominator here, but I think I'm going to see it for GPP. Bell, I think, is look as an upside dominator here. Doesn't have like super fast speed, but the fall off has been outstanding. So, like, if we have some green long runs, which we usually do early on in the race, the chaos usually happens towards the end. So he could potentially get out there and make some passes and move up, get a little place differential. But at 10-5, really needs some dominator points. But I think that could happen with him. He could get out there, get some track position, even though his pit crew has really let him down a lot this season. But again, the Toyotas are kind of really fast. And FanDuel, where like you DraftKings, you don't want to take too many cars up towards the front, even though it's hard to pass. But FanDuel, I you might want different like group of like Toyota um starters and then take like one cheap like value pay down towards the bottom. But FanDuel, you don't want to go down into like the 4K range. You like the 6 or 7K range. And usually they give you enough salary to make that happen. McDowell, GPP here, 11th, and he's just one that has kind of just hung around in the top 10, top 15. Doesn't really advance, but he's just like a little anchor there. He just like um, kind of reminds me of who was it a couple of years ago that Ryan Newman. That's who I'm thinking of here, where it's just hard to pass, just stayed up there, didn't really advance, but good finishing position. So again, it's probably better FanDuel play, but on DraftKings, if you need to put in a GPP or last man in, I'm okay with it here and low ownership. Logano won last year. I think that's going to overinflate his value here, but he in practice he just like did not have the speed. So I could he luck box his way into another one? Absolutely. So, is it worth if you're doing 20 on Drew Max having one Joey Logano lineup? Yes. Busher, same thing here. Wasn't super impressed. Was just inside the top 20 and 10 lap average, but nothing really blows me away here in this. I think there's better plays, a little bit cheaper than him, so I probably won't have too much exposure. Elliott's always here. It's the same thing. It's not as bad as Keselowski because he's like finishing races and not like boom or bust, but like he's more of like a whimper than a roar usually. And would it surprise me if Chase Elliott won this race? Absolutely not. It's a talented driver. It's a great team. They're just not, they're just a tick below that like elites. He's a good driver. But there's a good book that you read in business. It's called The Good to Great, and it talks about like water. Like a 1 degree difference is just from hot water to boiling water. And I think that's just Elliott is sometimes like the talent's there and everything. I just don't understand like why they don't put everything together. I know they've made some changes over the year between like the teams and stuff like that. Maybe it's continuity, but I think he's been with the same people, like pit crew and like crew chief and all that stuff, for like the last couple of years. So maybe it'll come together. Road races are coming up, so maybe that's his time to shine. Play him if you want to, but in this 9K range, I think he's priced in no man's land. And I think there's better plays this week. Bubba, I'm gonna give you a cash tag on here. A little bit risky. Again, probably a better FanDuel play. Much better play than probably McDowell too, because I think that he can get up into the top 10, maybe even top five. 16th and 10 lap average, which is really good. The price tag at 7K is nice. And again, the Toyotas are fast. So I think that if you're building a Toyota group, that he's a great one to put in there. Stenhouse qualifying way too far forward here. This on these concrete flat tracks are not his cup of tea, so I think he's going to fall backwards. I'm not going to play him. Eric Jones, I'm going to give the 100K tag to here because again, it seems like he's starting too far forward. It's kind of scary, but he is driving a Toyota who's had some speed. 13th 10 lap average. Some of the other practice metrics looked really good, so I think he could be kind of sneaky here as a value play that everybody's going to look down, but he might be right there if it is hard to pass and he like is able to hold the top 15 at 6K. Could have a solid day for you. Blaney, I'm going to put cash on here. Um, I don't think he gets up there and dominates. He did have really good long run speed. Like he and Bell like are in the same price range and the same thing, but Blaney was 10th in 10 lap average, but I think a little bit better if you look like further on out, more like than 10 lap average. And part of this too was like some of these they're like trying to figure out like pit road speed and stuff during practice and different groups and things. So like I always take practice with a grain of salt, but I think it's a good indicator here. It's not like the word of God by any means. So, but I think Blaney, why they have the blue on them, I should probably explain that. That means absolutely nothing. That was when last race I forgot to take it off. It was their they tested the tire track. So let me get rid of that so it's not distracting to you. It means absolutely nothing. Um, so I think you can play him in cash. Like I said, I like the long run speed and stuff. I don't know if you're gonna get to him, but if you're doing like the 20 max, I think he's one of the ones that you need to mix in um, with with your high price drivers you're paying up for. Cindric, hit or miss here. I know there's a whole Penske cheating thing. His dad got fired last week with the Indian, but Penske came out this week and said, Cindric is a stand-up guy. Nothing that he's doing here reflects anything that his father or family, um, you know, the sins of the fathers are not going to be taken out on the children. He's a good guy, and the only thing we need to be talking about is how many times he's going to be in the winner's circle this season. So I mean, that's kind of a vote of confidence, and we'll see how it plays out. But not inspiring me to play him in this race. 20th in 10 lap average, and nothing really pops here. Last man in a GPP, that's fine. I'd probably, if you and not have Bubba Wallace in, I'd probably like put the 200 there or pay 100 priest if so. That's what I got for that. AJ Allmendinger, oh my goodness, made an adjustment to the spoiler, I believe it was pre-practice inspection, and they found out about it, and they pretty much crucified this guy. He lost his pit selection. He lost practice time, starting to back the field, has a stop and go penalty. His crew chief got thrown out. They revoked all their meal plans. They have to sleep on the floor tonight. Like NASCAR just threw the book at them. So I'm gonna put it as a fade. I had speed in practice and actually did look decent out there. Even after everything, when he did get to go out there, it still had the same speed. But it could end up like a lap down. Early caution gets there. Like it could be a Cinderella story. I'm not going to play it. If you want to throw him in like one GPP lineup just in case, because he's going to have probably one of the only probably JJ Yaley and Chad Fincham are going to have lower ownership than him. Uh, Go for it, but I'm not touching it this week. Haley, GPP here, starting too far forward. Like he's had speed, he's been decent, but we like him when he starts in like the 20s or 30s, definitely. Pretty solid week last week. Like I didn't have much exposure to him, and everybody's talking to him, and I kind of like was wondering, like, am I wrong here? But he did end up doing well. 15th, so like he probably has like maybe 5 place differential points. So I can see him in cash here, just in there. Usually 4x is where I draw a line. He's at like 4.06 with the projection. So I think that you can play him in cash. Barry, same thing here, but he's $400 more. He wasn't in the top 10, but I think he had like a spin in practice and did change the tires, so that probably killed his speed there. But I think he's okay with some upside. Austin Dillon, 58. Like I'd like him to start a little bit further back in the field for a cash play, GPP. Yeah, low ownership, nothing special. Ty Gibbs, another Toyota here. I think that you know, potentially a cash play. Has some upside, 17th, not a 22nd place car. I think you can get into the top 15, maybe snip the top 10. Almost 5x in my projection here, so I think you can solidly play him in cash. Shane Van Gisbergen, I think it's going to go backwards. Trackhouse has been making strides definitely with Chastain, and I think Suarez is a solid play here. But Van Gisbergen, I don't know if he's going to stay in the top 25. 52 is a good price, GPP for me. Okay, my first alternate prime. So Bowman was one of the primes that I originally thought before then. I tried to build my lineup, throwing in like Hamlin and Chastain and realizing that I didn't like where it was going. So I kind of took these 7K guys out of the prime, but I think Bowman has some upside. He's my blue collar guy. He's like always a cash staple for me, and has had some speed. He's definitely making. He struggled previously, but this year he's really starting to gain some momentum and put together. So I'm looking more at like form the track history at this point, and I think he's definitely playable here. Kyle Busch, he didn't have a full practice session. We always know that like that's what killed him the COVID years and started like his down. Like before COVID, when they had a couple practices, he always had the cars completely dialed in and was like an elite driver. And since then, with the more limited practice, and I don't think he even got a full practice out there. It just hasn't been. So I toyed with him being a 100K driver just because he's been really good at this track previously, but different car, it's a different time. And GPP, I don't think he's like a detriment. I don't think he's like a boom or bust. I just think there's limited upside. That's where I'm going with that. Hocevar broke my heart last week. Like he was up there doing so well. They blew the engine, man. I was winning thousands. It was such a great race. I had Byron, I had Chastain, I had Hocevar, I had some really good value plays, and another one of them got caught up in an accident. But I did end up having a really good night, but it could have been like elite night. Um, but yeah, good for him. Obviously making some strides. They have some speed. 12th, not a 26th place car. I love him as a prime play if you can get to him. Maybe you only get to one Bowman or Hocevar. I prefer Bowman, but Hocevar definitely could be it also and saves you $300. Zane Smith finishing second last year doesn't look like it's the same situation this year, but who knows? So I'm gonna play him in the 100K lineup. I think he has the upside. His form's been decent recently, so and I don't think he's going to have high ownership. Larson, this is one you're going to have to figure out. He has been fast here, but he's going to need to get up there and actually cut through the field in a track that's hard to pass with a lot of really good drivers up front. This isn't like Chastain last week on that track. I mean, it's a different situation. It was a long race. It's 600 laps. This is half of that. It's 300 laps. So will he be able to get up there? Will he be able to get dominator points? I don't know. I think he's going to be chalky. I think people are going to gravitate towards the place differential. I really think I wanted my lineup to take the place differential with the cheaper drivers and swing for the fences more. We're trying to get dominators up there and capture those points. But maybe you split cash. Maybe you have a Larson lineup and go for the place differential and have to play like the cheaper primes I have, and then maybe you take some of the alternate primes that are there and build a more balanced lineup, and that's the way you go. So I'll leave that up to you. That's why I like to do this video. I like to talk out scenarios. I like to give you options. I don't want to like try to funnel everybody into like the same cookie cutter approach to building their lineups. Like that's what's fun about it is being able to have a lineup that's solid but just a little bit different than the rest of the field. So when you hit those trains, you can maybe soar in front of it with a solid construction and be able to have a successful day. Custer GPP, he's always run good at this track and on concrete tracks, but just his car hasn't had speed this year. Gregson, another alternate prime here. I think he's going to be highly owned down here. Maybe some people might even make him a core play, but I think that it didn't have a was outside the top 20 and 10 lap average, but I don't think he's a 30th place car and has found some trouble and been frustrating recently with some wrecks. But I think that if you have a little bit more money, you can consider him as a prime play. Dylan GPP, again, nothing special here. Nothing stands out. A little bit better than some of the really cheap drivers down here, but not spectacular. Suarez is going to be the first prime play that I'm going to lock in here. Trackhouse has been good. Suarez 14th. I think he got loose in qualifying, so that's why he qualified down here. It's not a 32nd place car. Definitely one that you can lock in as a cash prime play. Corey Heim, love this guy. Love him as a future NASCAR superstar. uh, Dominated truck race has just been super very young, only in like what was it, like 19 or 20 or so. Just a very good driver, very mature for his age, makes good decisions. He will be up here soon enough. And he did get to race the next gen car here last year. So he's got some experience. The 2311 is another Toyota. Like everything points to this could be a great smash play with low ownership in the 100K lineup. So anyway, our GPP, he was better than the rest of the really cheap cars in the 4K range, but that's not saying much. Gillian and now John Hunter Nemechek, I think, are very solid down here also. My projections have them doing pretty well in the 5K range, and I think that these are two solid pieces with Suarez if you want to play with all those ones up there. If not, then mix and match between Suarez, Gillian, and Nemechek. If I had to rank them, I would probably go Suarez number one, Nemechek number two, just because of the Toyota factor, and then Gillian third. But again, it all depends on how much you need pricing wise. And then Herbst, I think you can play down here in cash also. I'd never consider him as a prime, but again, it's a Toyota. Like there's so many good Toyotas in this field here. Some that are cheap that have place differential, some that are up high that have dominating potential, and then somewhere in the middle that I think that is definitely uh, a really good thing to like maybe in a GPP, maybe take the $1 one and just mix and match Toyota groups. Um, for you. And then Yaley and Fincham were just so slow in practice, like far beyond everybody else that their fades. They're not going to stay on the lead lap. I don't know if they'll finish the race. So I got for your favorite questions. Put in the chat below. Hit me up at Megro31 on Twitter/X. And again, hope you have a chance to enjoy a nice Sunday and then settle down for a nice evening of racing. We'll be back next week. I think they're at a road course. I can't remember where, but I didn't get a chance to look at the schedule. So if you want more information on FSide DFS, you can go into the description of the video, and there's the where you can sign up for our site. And we got all kinds of other sports. Charlie, even though soccer is like winding down, there's so many international things going on this summer. You can get in for that. Kurt, covering WNBA, doing great there. We still have an NBA and NHL finals, so we cover for the showdowns. Major League Baseball coverage. Myself, Pete, Matt, Noah, doing really solid stuff there. Took down a baby GPP yesterday with a Mets and a Tampa Bay stack and a Gray as a pitcher on FanDuel. It looked like one of those ones where like I, I didn't know if the Mets game was going to play or not, and then all of a sudden it looked like it was going to, and like all the contests that left were just garbage. But it was like an NBA basketball score. I think I scored like 320 or something in a baseball. It's crazy. But anyways, so if these videos help us back, like, subscribe to the channel, and share with your friends. And I'll be back next week. So thanks for watching. Hope you have an amazing weekend. I'll see you next time.